Wuthering Waves is a bad game. Or at least that's what a lot of people want you to think. Many Doom posters on Twitter and Reddit like to claim that this game is terrible. Or at least that's what I've seen and heard from a majority of people that I have talked to. Now, does that mean Wuthering Waves is a bad game? No. Do I think that the problems that Wuthering Waves has are really non-existent? Absolutely not. But I will say that a lot of people, I think, are taking the Wuthering Waves hate train and writing it because of the fact that they want to protect their billion-dollar company in Hoyoverse. But I have a few opinions on that, but I first want to talk about a few things before we get into my personal opinions. Now, before we even get into that, I want to make sure that you guys like, subscribe, go ahead and hit that notification bell to be notified when the next Wuthering Waves video comes out, and leave a comment about what you think about the current standings of Wuthering Waves. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get hated for my opinions on this, but I feel like if I don't even speak out my mind, what kind of content creator am I? I'm literally just going to sit here and be like, hey guys, everything's great. No, that's not what we're doing here. But before we get into that, also make sure that you're checking out Gamer Subs. Use code Tystra for 10% off. Got me some subs right here. Delish. Now, make sure you use code Tystra for 10% off at gamersubs.gg. Fantastic. Had to wet my whistle a little bit before we get into this. So, first things first, I want to talk about the problems in communication, which is probably what you saw in the thumbnail, right? A lot of people on the launch of Wuthering Waves, which launched last week, have issues with this game. Now, a lot of these issues are absolutely warranted. Some people are just complaining about how fast certain events are, which we'll get into as well, because that one's really, really funny. But a lot of people have issues in regards to performance for the game. And this is the one time where even myself as a content creator have experienced this and have been very vocal about it. I tell my friends Mika and Rami all the time while we're hanging out in BC, I hate the fact that this game takes 20 minutes for me to actually get into. Now, it might be a launcher issue. It might be the files being an issue. I don't know. I haven't been able to figure it out myself. So if any of you have, you know, a way to fix it, please let me know, because my word, it is annoying. But I'm not the only one that deals with the performance issues, and if you're playing on mobile, the performance issues are worse. Now, I do have my theories on this. I know that a lot of people on the Gacha subreddit or Gacha Gaming subreddit have also said this as well, which is cool that we found kind of a middle ground agreement on this. I think that ultimately when they went to closed beta 2, there is a possible chance that they were trying to rush to make a deadline. Now, the game is great for being as rushed as it was, if that's the case, but we see the problems that it has, where we're not privy to seeing that type of information. But in regards to all that, the one thing that I want to say about Wuthering Waves, and honestly, I haven't seen it a lot with companies when it comes to gaming, is that Wuthering Waves, right, or Kuro Games, in this sense, have communicated so much about fixes, issues, and such. I'll give you some examples. When we first got the game out and we were having those performance issues, some dialogue issues and stuff, we were getting free summons, a free 5-star selector, and you know, just basically free currency in game, which is really cool. There was the one today where we got basically a single's worth of currency, which I did hear some complaints, but I'm like, guys, they gave us a 5-star selector, which they weren't going to give us in the first place. The fact that they even gave us that, I'm like, holy crap, I'll deal with 160 Asterai. I didn't want another 5-star select. Well, I do, but that's not the point. The point is they can't give out too much free stuff in regards to, like, you know, 5-star selectors. Otherwise, we're going to basically fully Constellation idle on our characters out. But they've communicated about, we hear you and we're going to try and fix it. And some of the issues they have actually fixed, there are still some that are really bothersome, but at least for me, I feel like they've tried. So I did pull up their Twitter here, right? And they've even, like, the last real big communication that they did on Twitter, this was, what, 6 days ago, just after everything went down. And a lot of the things that they were talking about here was to make the story skippable, which they did, or at least for the most part from what I've seen. Companion story for Yinlin will be available in-game soon, which is going to be June 6th. So if you haven't finished all your other stuff, don't go too far behind. I still got to do my Jian story quest and my Ling Yang. But for this, they gave us 10 Radiant Tides, which is, you know, basically a multi on the premium banner, and also the 5-star selector, which was insane to me, in my opinion. I didn't think they needed to go that far, but they did. And not only that, but afterwards they did even more than that, like giving us more summons and stuff. Whoa, hold on, wait a tick. Just in case something came up that I didn't want you guys to see. I don't think anything did. Let me double check that. I'm freaking out now. No, we're good. Okay, it's just people on Twitter. So anyways, but it wasn't just like this stuff right here, right? People have been complaining on the gacha gaming subreddit, right? And outside of the fact that Kuro Games has communicated with the problems and have tried to resolve them and give compensation as well, I feel as though they still have a long way to go. I feel like this game could have gone with like a month wait, and it would have helped a lot of these issues. I think that would have been a good thing. But I did see this post, and I really wanted to talk about this as well, because it really kind of like feels as though there is obviously kind of a separation between content creators and the other players, right? For us as like content creators, right? And this is true. I saw this in Propagandathon post right here, where we are entertaining / being entertained by chat, and we're talking and all that stuff, so it makes the story more tolerable. A lot of players, when they play, if they're not a content creator, they're sitting there either paying attention or doing something on the side, and it's either they care so much about the story but it's so boring that they don't care, or they're not paying attention to the story and they could skip. Now, my retort to this, content creators do understand some of the problems. The thing is that a lot of us, or at least in my neck of the woods, I guess, I see the problems and I have a way of talking about it and expressing, but I also don't go crazy about it. There's a lot of people that'll go crazy about issues and make it 10 times bigger than it actually is. They'll say, oh, I hate this game because, you know, this person's hair is not the right color, or this person's fingernails are too long, you know, all that type of stuff. But there are legitimate concerns with the game, and I am also concerned with as well. The performance issues do definitely need to be fixed. I think that's the #1 thing that they need to fix personally, because if it takes 20 minutes to log into a game, that's an issue. And it's an issue not just for, you know, the regular, you know, players out there that aren't doing content creation, but us content creators as well. I have to delay my stream at least 15 to 20 minutes just to try and like log into the game, or just wake up a little bit earlier. By the way, twitch.tv/Tashed I said to, if you want to know where I stream at, and I also stream here on YouTube as well. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people are like, you're a content creator, so your opinion doesn't matter. It does. And this is coming from a content creator. No, but I understand where people go like, oh, well, you're a shill for this. And I also got it in Genshin Impact as well, where a lot of people would say, because I do this and I do that, my opinion doesn't matter in Genshin Impact. Well, I've been playing the game since day one, and I have many opinions about Genshin Impact, and I gotta tell you right now, with the many comparisons that Genshin and Kuro Games' Wuthering Waves have, the fact that Kuro Games is communicating with us is a lot better than what Hoyoverse does. No offense to Hoyoverse. I still love them. I still love Honkai Star Rail, and I still love Genshin Impact. But at the end of the day, a spade is a spade. Hell, Shift Up with Goddess of Victory Qingque communicates and gives us some of the most amazing stuff. And honestly, I think that Kuro Games and Hoyoverse could learn a lot from somebody like Shift Up. I think Shift Up is a great company. I haven't seen any bad things from them, and you know, let's face it, they got some good stuff happening. But anyways, I'm kind of segueing a little into something, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that Kuro Games has its problems with Wuthering Waves, but I see them actually communicating and understanding the issues that they have and trying to fix them. A lot of people are arguing these should have been fixed before launch. Every gacha game has launched with some sort of problem. It happens all the time. Like, I don't think there's ever been a perfect release of a gacha game, you know. The The one thing I could say is with the communication, it's going to do better than some gacha games that have gone to the grave. One game in particular that I always felt could have been better was the Overlord gacha game. And it never really listened to its community. A lot of the people were like, this game has no way of grinding. You can't really get the currency unless you buy it. And it feels as though the rates are too high. What was their response? Make swimsuit characters. And trust me, listen, I'm a degenerate, but that wasn't going to solve the issues, right? A lot of people complained about Genshin's pity system at the beginning and said it had issues. And instead of, you know, talking about it, you know, Hoyoverse was just like, nah, we're good. Just keep on summoning, whatever, who cares? And they made a good chunk of money. Genshin was fantastic. It still is, in my opinion. I still think Genshin is actually really, really good. I like Wuthering Waves a lot. Despite its issues, it's a very, very good game. One last thing I want to talk about, and this actually just kind of happened. So I follow Stefan. Stefan is great. I think that Stefan's good, but I think Stefan has been very, very critical of Wuthering Waves to a point to where, no offense, it's kind of annoying. Like, Stefan's a great guy, but I feel as though Stefan picks on Wuthering Waves too much. And a lot of other people have talked to me about it and said, yeah, Stefan's usually really good about stuff, but it just seems like he's on a hate train for Wuthering Waves. I don't think that's it. I think he's being overly critical because of the fact that he doesn't want to be labeled as like a shill of something, which is totally fine. I think there's a way of portraying it differently, but there's some times where I look at these and I'm just like, what the heck? So he made a post. The Wuthering Waves event has 32 seconds of content and is time gated. I can't. Now, here's the thing. I can understand it from a content creator's perspective. You want an event that has a lot of stuff going on for it at the beginning. I absolutely 100% understand that as a content creator. For me, though, as a content creator who also doesn't get a lot of time to play games, I'm a very happy boy with the fact that I only have to play this event for 32 seconds. Okay, so that's why I made my post. I said, I get it to a degree, but more time to farm for echoes for your units. Easy rewards for minimal effort so that I can actually farm other stuff. Guys, I have a full-time job. I'm not a full-time content creator just yet, even though I do 5 videos a week, plus I do streams on my Twitch channel, plus I do, you know, TikToks, plus I do Instagram posts and Twitter between 2 accounts. I'm a very, very busy guy in regards to content creation and my like full-time job, right? Plus I hang out with all my buddies when I can on the weekends. The point is, to me, I felt as though, as someone who doesn't speed run all the content and I'm not finished with everything, this was great to have an event that's going to give me good rewards, or decent rewards at the very least, for minimal effort. It's like, okay, cool, I'm not going to miss anything with this event. I'm going to do it, get it done really quick, and then focus on echo farming, because farming echoes is a lot better than Genshin Impact's artifact system. I'm going to be 100% with y'all. But what I found funny, and this is just to this person, Sabins, I'm young. That's literally excuses. There's barely anything to do once you finish the story and get as high as you can in the end game, so you can literally just farm all you want. They should have made a longer or harder obby event instead of what they gave. Now, to me, I'm not making an excuse. I'm literally coming at it from a different perspective. And I wish that more people would understand that it's not an excuse. There's different ways of life. I try to go about posts and all that from a different perspective, and I don't think a lot of people are willing to take the time to understand other people's perspective. This person, I don't know what their life is like, but they probably sped run through all the content. If they work a full-time job, they might have taken a couple days off just so that they could play 24 hours a day. Me, I'm old. I've got gray hair. I'm trying to get some sleep and then wake up and play some Wuthering Waves and Genshin. And like, for me, I play Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, Goddess of Victory, Qingque, you know, and I'm going to be touching on Zenless Zone 0 as well. And I do a little bit of Honkai Impact 3rd. I have a lot of gacha games to take care of. Plus, I got to get ready for July when I'm doing freaking Shadow of the Erdtree run on twitch.tv/TaishiDaisetsu. Don't have a specific date yet, but we're ready for that. But that's my point. I think that a lot of people instantly go like, you are defending this and you are defending that, just like how we as Wuthering Waves players say Genshin Impact players are defending their billion-dollar company, right? Now, to the people who are trashing on Wuthering Waves, I gotta say, most of the time when I see them trashing, they're saying Genshin Impact's better. Define better. If you say story, that's not fair because they've literally had 4 years to develop their story. If you say gameplay, I'm going to call you a liar. Probably not actually a liar, but I'm going to say maybe it's better for you, but in the overall grand scheme of things, I think that Wuthering Waves' gameplay makes more attempts to be fun with the parries, the actual dodges, instead of just iframe type, like, you know, oh, I just dodged because I ran. No, you actually see them dodge. If you say the artifacts and echoes, no, I really don't agree. But I do think that Genshin has the better story now because of how long it's taken to develop. You got to remember too, with Genshin, the first year of Genshin, everybody was complaining about the story. They had no idea what was really going on. All you had to do was fight Dvalin and then go and figure out who killed Rex Lapis, all that stuff. There wasn't that much. And now people look back on that and then they're looking at this and they're like, oh, it wasn't really that bad in Genshin. It was. A lot of people complained. The same complaint here, where there's barely anything to do and an event only took like 32 seconds, was the same thing that happened with Genshin, man. It's nothing new. My overall point to this whole discussion, right, is I think that people need to understand that with a new game, there's always going to be problems. And do I think that Kuro Games should have waited to release their game? 100%. I think a lot of these performance issue problems and all that stuff could have been avoided if they would have taken an extra month or two to release their game. Would that have been bad for them? Probably, because, you know, people were wanting Wuthering Waves right out the gate. They wanted it done. But I think it would have been better in the long run. Now, Kuro Games with Wuthering Waves have made millions of dollars already as it is. I think they're going to be fine. And I think a lot of people who are doom posting Wuthering Waves, I think they're really not giving it a chance because they don't want anything new. That's just personally my opinion. If it's not, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know how you feel about Wuthering Waves. Don't forget to check out Gamer Subs. Use code TYSON for 10% off. And that's going to be it. This went on longer than I wanted it to. I didn't want it to go this long. So I kind of just rambled and, you know, said my piece. But overall, Kuro Games, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing your best. I appreciate y'all communicating with your players. That's, I think, the biggest tell of a great company to be. And Kuro Games is going to do that. Anyways, y'all, that's going to be it. Love you all to death. And as always, we will catch you in that next video. Please take care and be safe.